everyone, and welcome to Didi Kid Book Reviews.
Oh, I love that name.
So today we're going to be diving into
I'm excited.
Rodrick Rules, the second book in Jeff Kinney's Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. And, I mean, this book, it's basically like a rite of passage for so many young readers, right?
It's true. You know, it's really amazing to me how this book with like the simple diary format, and the hilarious illustrations, it just resonates with kids and adults, even like all these years after it was released.
Yeah, and we've got so many reviews here. Like we've looked at Amazon and Goodreads and Common Sense Media, even some dedicated book blogs.
Wow.
Really trying to get like a wide variety of perspectives.
Oh,
And
they're great.
I'm excited to unpack what makes this book tick.
Me too.
Why it still rules bookshelves everywhere.
Well, one thing that really jumps out to me from the reviews is just the sheer volume of praise for the humor.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, Kinney just nails that awkward middle school experience, and readers just love it.
Yeah.
They really respond to it.
Yeah, and a lot of the reviewers like specifically mentioned laughing out loud at Greg's attempts to like avoid Rodrick's pranks.
Oh, yeah.
It's that classic sibling rivalry taken to like hilarious extremes.
Yeah, it's not just slapstick, though.
Right.
Kinney, like, cleverly uses Greg's inner monologue to add a layer of, like, witty humor,
It's so true.
Remember, like, when Greg tries to hide from Rodrick in the bathroom?
Oh, yeah.
And his inner thoughts about the situation are just as funny as what's actually happening?
Oh my gosh, yes. And it's like
It's so cute.
Kinney like taps into those secret embarrassing thoughts that like we all had as kids but would never say out loud.
Oh, totally.
And the illustrations definitely amplify the humor.
For sure.
They're simple, but they perfectly capture like the expressions and the chaos of every moment.
Absolutely. And they're not just funny either. They actually play a key role in making the book accessible for younger readers. Like, parents and educators often praise the diary format, the large font and the frequent illustrations for making the book like less intimidating, especially for those reluctant readers.
It's like Kinney designed the book to be like inviting and fun, drawing kids in with its visual appeal and relatable storyline.
And that can be so powerful.
Oh, for sure.
Reviews highlight how that visual approach combined with the relatable humor has helped some children improve their reading habits and develop a genuine love for books.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's so cool.
Like this book opens the door to a whole world of reading enjoyment.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the heart of the book, the characters.
Okay.
The dynamic between Greg and Rodrick is like legendary.
It's true. It's that classic love-hate sibling relationship that I think so many readers identify with. You see the constant bickering and the pranks and the betrayals.
Right.
But then there are also these subtle moments of connection, of understanding that make their bond feel so genuine.
It's that messy, complicated reality of sibling relationships that Kinney portrays so well. And it's interesting because Greg isn't always a likable character.
That's true.
He can be selfish, dishonest, and often makes decisions that make you kind of like shake your head.
Yeah, you're like, Greg, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But you know what? That's something that reviewers actually point to as a strength.
Really?
Yeah, they see it as like a message of self-acceptance.
Interesting.
A reminder that it's okay to make mistakes.
Okay.
That you don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love and acceptance.
It's a refreshing change from books that present those like idealized protagonists.
Totally, and it ties into another important point.
Okay.
While the book is hilarious, it also touches on some deeper themes.
Okay.
Like family dynamics and navigating friendships.
Oh yeah, speaking of friendships, we can't forget about Greg's best friend, Rowley.
Oh, Rowley.
They're such an odd pair.
They are.
But their dynamic really captures the complexities of friendships during like those awkward adolescent years.
Yes. Their friendship faces like its share of ups and downs, tests of loyalty and moments of misunderstanding.
Right.
It's something that many readers, especially those navigating their own friendships, can really relate to.
It's so true.
And Kinney explores these complexities with his trademark humor.
Yeah.
Making even the difficult moments feel relatable and engaging.
Oh yeah. Now, before we move on, it's important to acknowledge that not all the reviews are glowing endorsements.
Right.
Some readers find the humor repetitive or feel that the characters, especially Greg, lack depth compared to other middle grade fiction.
Right.
And there are concerns about Greg's less than admirable qualities not being adequately addressed. It's a good reminder that every book won't resonate with everyone.
Totally.
In the same way.
Yeah.
Different readers have different tastes and expectations.
Exactly, and that's okay.
Right? And it's good. It's good to see, like, those differing opinions.
Yeah, it's good to see.
Because it shows that the book, like, sparks discussion and critical thinking.
For sure. Exactly. It really does. Even with those criticisms, it's undeniable that Rodrick Rules has had a huge impact on young readers.
Oh, for sure.
It's helped countless kids, like, find joy in reading, introduce them to characters that feel real, and giving them a space to, like, laugh at the absurdities of growing up.
It's so true.
And speaking of those characters, I think one reason the book remains so popular is that the family dynamics feel so timeless and universal. The way Greg and Rodrick interact.
Right.
Their parents trying to manage the chaos. It's something that most families can relate to on some level.
It's like a window into a slightly exaggerated, but still very recognizable family life.
Precisely. And even though the book is primarily humorous, there are these, like, underlying messages.
About self-acceptance, the importance of family, and navigating those tricky friendships. It's all woven into the narrative without feeling preachy or forced.
Yeah, those themes kind of sneak up on you while you're busy laughing at Greg's latest predicament.
Exactly. That's what makes it so clever. And that's also why it appeals to both kids and adults.
Right.
Adults might see themselves in the parenting struggles.
Yeah.
Or feel a pang of nostalgia for their own middle school days, while kids are just captivated by the humor and the relatable situations.
Yeah, a lot of the reviews mention families reading the book together and bonding over it, which is really heartwarming.
Yeah, that shared experience is definitely a big part of its enduring appeal. It's a book you can revisit at different stages of life and still find something to enjoy.
That's true.
And we'd be remiss not to mention the illustrations again.
Oh, yeah.
They really contribute to that timeless quality.
They're so simple, almost childlike, but they perfectly capture the energy of each scene.
And add, like, an extra layer of humor.
And they're crucial for engaging young readers.
Yeah.
They break up the text,
right,
provide visual cues, and make the whole reading experience feel more approachable and less daunting.
It's like Kinney understood exactly how to balance text and visuals to create a story that's both entertaining and accessible.
It speaks to his understanding of his audience. He knows how to tap into the minds of middle schoolers and create a world that feels authentic and relatable.
He really nails that voice.
He does.
But getting back to the criticisms.
Okay.
Some reviewers argue that the series relies too heavily on a formula. That the characters don't really evolve, and the humor can get repetitive.
That's a valid point. There's definitely a certain predictability to the series. It's like a sitcom where you kind of know what to expect, but you still enjoy, like, the familiar humor and the characters.
Right, like comfort food. You know what you're getting. And sometimes that's exactly what you need.
Exactly. And while there might not be massive character growth, I think there is subtle development. Particularly in the relationship between Greg and Rodrick. It's not always overt.
Right.
But you can see moments of understanding and even a bit of begrudging respect developing between them.
It's like they're slowly figuring out how to coexist.
Yes.
Maybe even appreciate each other's quirks despite their differences.
And that's a realistic portrayal of sibling relationships.
Yeah?
They're complex and often evolve gradually over time.
It's not all sunshine and roses, but there's a sense that they're learning and growing together, however slowly.
Yes.
But aside from the characters and their relationships, one element that really stands out is the diary format itself.
Absolutely. That format is so effective in drawing the reader into Greg's world. The doodles, the handwritten font, the way he directly addresses the reader, it creates this sense of intimacy and immediacy that makes you feel like you're reading his actual diary.
It's like we're privy to his innermost thoughts, his secrets, his anxieties.
Exactly. And that makes us more invested in his story.
Right.
Even when he's making questionable choices, we still find ourselves rooting for him. Trying to understand his motivations.
It's that flawed human element that really draws us in.
And Kinney uses that format to explore the complexities of adolescence. He doesn't shy away from those awkward, insecure feelings we all experience at that age.
It's like he's giving readers permission to embrace their own imperfections.
Yes.
Reminding them that it's okay to not have everything figured out.
Precisely. And the doodles and handwritten font contribute to that sense of authenticity.
Yeah.
It feels like a real kid's diary.
Right.
It's messy and unfiltered.
And it adds to the humor, too.
Absolutely. The doodles often serve as visual punchlines.
Yeah.
Adding another layer of comedy to the story.
It's a brilliant marriage of format and content.
It is.
But let's address those criticisms about the humor again.
Okay.
Some reviewers find it a bit juvenile, relying too much on slapstick and bodily functions.
That's true. Some of the humor is definitely geared towards a younger audience, but there's also a sharp wit to Kinney's writing.
Okay.
A satirical edge that appeals to adults.
Right.
He's poking fun at middle school culture.
Yeah.
Parental anxieties. And even societal norms.
It's like he's found a way to make it funny for everyone, regardless of age.
Exactly. It works on multiple levels.
Another criticism is that the characters, especially Greg, lack depth and complexity.
While it's true that Greg isn't the most introspective character, I think his relatability lies in his flaws.
Yeah.
He's selfish,
Right.
motivated by popularity, and doesn't always make the best choices.
Right.
But that's part of what makes him so human.
It's like looking in a mirror and seeing those less than admirable parts of ourselves reflected back.
And even though he doesn't undergo a dramatic transformation, there are subtle hints of growth.
Yeah.
Of learning from his mistakes.
It's a gradual process, which feels very authentic to the experience of growing up.
Exactly. And we have to remember that this is primarily a humorous book.
Right.
The focus is on entertainment, on capturing the absurdity of everyday life, not necessarily on delivering profound character studies.
It's about finding the humor in the mundane.
Yes.
In those awkward moments we all experience.
Right. And in that sense, I think Rodrick Rules succeeds brilliantly.
Okay.
But let's zoom out for a moment and consider the bigger picture.
Okay.
Rodrick Rules is just one installment in a hugely popular series.
Right.
It's a global phenomenon that has resonated with millions of readers.
It spawned movies, merchandise, spin-offs,
Right.
a whole wimpy kid empire.
That widespread appeal is undeniable.
Yeah.
It speaks to the power of these characters, the universality of their stories,
Right.
and Kinney's ability to connect with readers on a fundamental level.
It's clear he's tapped into something special.
He had.
But what is it about Rodrick Rules and the series as a whole that has captured the imaginations of so many? That's something we'll explore after a quick. I think a big part of it is like the relatability of these stories. Like, they're about ordinary kids facing ordinary problems, you know, dealing with siblings, navigating the social minefield of school, trying to fit in. It's not about magic or fantasy. It's just life.
Right.
As experienced by a slightly neurotic, somewhat self-centered, but ultimately well-meaning middle schooler.
You hit the nail on the head. Like, there's no magic, no fantastical creatures, no life or death scenarios.
Right.
It's the everyday struggles, those embarrassing moments, the awkward situations that we've all been through, especially during those formative middle school years.
And Kinney captures it all.
He does.
With like such a keen eye for detail.
Yes.
He remembers what it was like to be that age, the things we obsessed over, the dramas that felt so huge at the time. And he brings it to life on the page with humor and honesty.
It's like he has a direct line to the middle school mindset.
Yes.
And for older readers, there's that element of nostalgia. You know, that warm feeling of remembering their own childhoods. Those simpler times before adult responsibilities took over.
Right.
It's like a comforting trip back in time.
It's true. Like, reliving those awkward moments through Greg's eyes can be both hilarious and a little bit cringeworthy. But it's always relatable.
Right. And for younger readers, it's a validation of their own experiences, a reminder that they're not alone in their struggles.
Like Kinney saying, hey, it's okay to feel awkward, to make mistakes, to be embarrassed.
Right.
It's all part of growing up.
And that message is incredibly reassuring for kids who are going through those confusing, often challenging years.
It's like having a friend who understands, who's been there, who can laugh with you about the absurdity of it all. And remind you that everything will be okay.
That's a great way to put it. And I think that's ultimately why Rodrick Rules and the entire Diary of a Wimpy Kid series continue to resonate with readers of all ages.
Right.
They celebrate the messy, imperfect journey of childhood and remind us that it's okay to laugh at ourselves along the way.
So if you haven't experienced the world of Rodrick Rules, we highly recommend giving it a try. You might just find yourself transported back to your own middle school days, reliving those awkward moments and laughing along with Greg's misadventures.
And if you're already a fan, maybe it's time for a reread.
Oh, yeah.
You might be surprised by how much you still connect with the characters and their stories, even from an adult perspective.
It's a book that can be enjoyed again and again, each time, offering something new to appreciate.
That's true.
And who knows, maybe reading Rodrick Rules will inspire you to revisit your own childhood memories.
Yeah.
To remember those funny, embarrassing moments that shaped who you are today.
That's a great idea. And if you're feeling really adventurous, maybe even start your own diary.
Oh.
Just like Greg.
Right.
You never know what hilarious or heartwarming stories you might uncover.
That's a fantastic suggestion. And if you're ready to dive into Rodrick Rules, we've got a link in the description where you can grab a copy.
Happy reading, everyone.
Until next time, keep on exploring those wonderful stories.